Well, now, gather round, cats and kittens. Tonight we honor a dream that slipped on a banana peel. I waited by the console with my quarters and my hope. They said, baby, this one's go, but it vanished like smoke. All dressed up in trailers so fine, promised stars, promised thrills. But when the lights came on, it was silence and bills. Where'd the players go? Shoo-wee-doo. We don't know, we don't know. Concord, Concord. Shoo-wee, don't you cry. You flew so high in the trailers and waved us all goodbye. Concord, Concord. You broke our game of hearts. Best dressed at the dance, but you never learned to start. Firewalk Studios, big band sound. Wireless shoes, but no one around. Matchmaking colder than a jukebox blues. Just me and the menu singing the news. I pressed my game like a lovesick fool. Snap, snap, snap went the waiting room. Servers humming a lonely tune like a sock hop in an empty saloon. Oh, Concord, Concord, ring that off-key bell. You promised us heaven, but checked us into well. Concord, Concord, here's your trophy, dear, for the game we waited for, but never played this year. Now listen, baby, it ain't personal, it's just showbiz. Sometimes the band's tight, but the dance floor is empty. Concord, Concord, take about a night. Worst game of the year, but you shine so bright. Concord, Concord, hear us say, most disappointing game in a very stylish way. So here's to the dreams that miss their cue, to the hype trains running out of fuel. Snap once more for what could have been. Shooby-doo, shooby-don't, ladies and gentlemen, your winner. Your winner.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the event of the year. A wonderful, joyous time where we come together and award the best and the worst of the year. It's me, your boy. Your boy. Ready to chill, ready to vibe, at least for a little bit to wrap up the year. How are all of you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. I know I am. Kind of a weird day. I don't know, the energy's strange, at least here in northern Colorado, but I'm here. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you're here. Ready to rock and roll. Today we are, as I described, we're going to be going through, of course, the best games of the year, but that's easy enough. The other funny thing is to go through the worst games of the year and to award the Concord of the Year award, which is something everybody should consider and, you know, really appreciate, because it's this year there was actually some competition. I know it may be surprising, but there actually was. Quick honorable mention though for just bafflingly stupid news of the year. Did you guys see this? A rumor and speculation and reporting is suggesting that the 5090 in 2026 could skyrocket in price all the way upwards of $5K. Woof. 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 Like, Jesus Christ. And so it's from Newsies, or Newsis, a South Korean outlet. It was stressed that we're just seeing the beginning of monumental and borderline ridiculous price hikes in the GPU space. The report explained that sources have suggested a climb in the RTX 5090 stakes from 2K at this launch, or at launch this year, to as much as 5K later in 2026. AMD's RX 9000 series is apparently set to mimic that ticket growth, but but not as steeply. It was written, quote, both companies are reportedly planning to continue raising GPU prices every month going forward. It's highly likely that the price increases will extend across their entire product lineup, encompassing not only consumer GPUs, but also GPUs for AI data centers and servers. The report then noted a quote from an insider who said, quote, the average proportion of memory in the overall GPU manufacturing cost has recently exceeded 80%. If this report is accurate, you could see the 5090 going from where it launched at 2K all the way to 5. Woof. But this is why I said, like, be ready. It's gonna get worse. And like I outlined the other day, it is purely just a matter of supply and demand. Demand is crazy high because of AI data centers. Everybody's pouring money into it. So is that demand going anywhere? Probably not, especially because these are data centers that are making orders for like a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road. So supply is constrained for that period of time. Even if it crashes today and like Nvidia goes down 50% in like the stock market, the orders are still placed. Like the inventory is still claimed. So it's not that simple. And then as for like increasing supply by manufacturing more, that takes years to build fabs. And fabs. Let's be real. Even if they were to build more manufacturing centers for memory and for this stuff, they're just going to use it to build more of the thing they can charge $5,000 for, or 50 grand, or $100,000 for like the crazy data center GPUs. They're not going to be building cheap RAM for you and me. You know, like this is unfortunately just the standard now. This is just the standard. It's ridiculous, but this is how it's going to be for a while. This is why I think it's actually quite likely, and not a crazy claim at all, to suggest that, like, because of all this, I think next gen has probably been delayed significantly. Like, how else, like, if GPUs are more than doubling, the high-end GPUs are more than doubling in price, potentially, potentially, what else is gonna, I mean, why would that, like, the idea of $1,000 GPU was crazy just a handful of years ago. Now the idea of $1,000 console is not that crazy, dude. It really is not. It really is not that outside the realm of possibility, especially because they're already raising prices on everything else. Now, like, you know, if they were to launch next gen 6 months ago, the expectation was probably $600-700. Don't you dare. If I see one comment doing 6-7 because I said 600-700, anyway. I think now the odds of it going to 1,000 are crazy. Like super high. Super high. It's just, I feel for people who were waiting. I mean, because it sucks now. There's no easy solution, man. There's no easy solution. Somebody came into chat like a month ago when the GPU or RAM prices started going up, and I remember they asked, should I build now or should I wait till 26? And a lot of us were like, I don't know, maybe write it out. But dude, now I think like this is the mess. There's going to be sort of like a run on the banks, but a run on GPUs, where people are going to run and upgrade frantically now, even though it's way more expensive, but they're doing it because they expect it to get even worse next year. But that's just going to drop supply even more, which will then in turn push prices up even higher and expedite and, you know, speed up the whole process of the price hikes. So I just, man, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. I'm very, very glad that I did all of my PC upgrades and my other streaming PC died and exploded. Like, when was that? August or September or something? It like completely died. You know, my brother who works in IT, he helped me rebuild the PC because there were some salvageable parts, but some of it was just fried. The SSD, because if you missed the rambling about that, I missed a stream because my streaming PC, I have a dual PC setup. It's why I have 2 keyboards and 2 mice, you know, on my desk. My streaming PC just randomly one day wouldn't turn on. It was really, really bizarre. We were playing games at night. We were playing Raft with some friends, and my streaming PC, which is what I had Discord pulled up on and everything, just stopped. It just stopped working. and it was like froze up. It was really strange. So I turned the computer off to try to just restart it. Have you tried turning it off and on again? That's what I tried. And it wouldn't post, it wouldn't boot. And then I would check, and like all of my SSDs and everything were starting to show up or not show up and get corrupted and stuff. It's like, what on earth is happening? Long story short, days of testing and going to Micro Center and buying replacement parts and everything later, we took it apart. Basically, my Samsung NVMe, like 980 Pro NVMe SSD, had a 1 in a billion fluke where the whole thing basically fried itself. It was like not brand new, pretty new. Like it was within maybe a year. And it's technically possible, but it's like a 1 in a billion chance that it happens. And my brother, who works in IT, was saying that as part of a training exercise for all the people in the IT department, they tried to use their like data recovery tools. They're like super expensive, tens of thousands of dollars for a license, data recovery tools to get back on that SSD and see if they could recover it. And he's like, dude, I don't know what the hell you did to that thing. It is fried. He's like, none of us have ever seen something like this, but because like NVMEs are really reliable and they don't have these problems typically. If it was a hard drive, like, yeah, you come to expect it, but dude, this thing, I don't know what happened, if it was a ray from the sun or something, but whatever happened to it was quite the fluke. But it basically fried not just itself, but something about how it fried also was causing like over voltage to other things on the motherboard, which then caused motherboard issues and affected other things within the computer. So it was just a disaster. I mean, the whole thing was a mess. The whole thing was a mess. So I had to upgrade and fix stuff. But thankfully I did it before this happened, dude. Thank God. Thank God. I also bought all the stuff for Nikki's PC upgrade. I didn't realize she was still rocking a 7700K. How old is that CPU? She was still rocking a 7700K from back in the day. When was this launched? Like, I'll probably say here. 20 Q4. Oh, first seen on charts Q4 of 2016. So it's probably like a 2017 CPU, probably. She was still rocking this thing, and dude, her shader compilation would take forever. I was like, why is it taking so long? And I realized she was still rocking that old champ. You know, it's a solid CPU, but I mean, it was taking her like 45 minutes to compile shaders anytime there was an update in like Marvel Rivals or anything like that. So I got all the stuff for her PC upgrade, again, thankfully, before all this happened. But man, what an insane time to be alive. The idea that NVIDIA's top of the line GPU is going to go to 5K and that people could flip it. It's just wild. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Okay. Other things, I just wanted to throw this out because this was fun and kind of cute, and I was like, oh, I'll mention it. Ubisoft Nordic tweeted this out. They said, from 2025 to 2026, our hype bar never dips. Assassins parkour rooftops while pirates ready their ships. They said the thing. They said the thing. Pirates? What made you say pirates? What made you say pirates? Something, interesting. Interesting. Okay. Operators breach and tactical flips. Another year of UB worlds at our fingertips. Okay, it's cute. It's Happy New Year, blah, blah, blah. But pirates and ships. Pirates and ships, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Again, it's the worst. Skull and Bones. How dare you? I mean, probably. If you ask them, what's that mean? They probably would say Skull and Bones. That's probably how they'd defend it if corporate came knocking, but... We're just hyping up Skull and Bones, man. What do you want from us? What do you want from us? Also, this one, I'm sorry, this is funny. Somebody was like, how do we fix Starfield? How do we fix Starfield? Modders have built out something called Star Wars Genesis, apparently. It's a mod for Starfield that turns it into this. This was tweeted out by Puberty. quite the name. This is what it looks like. Oh, it's gonna copyright claim because of the music. But they literally like overhaul. They add ships. They add aliens. I mean, it's just straight up. What is it? Tatooine. But it's Starfield, man. You can recognize those running animations from anywhere. I don't know why the player's head is so small, though. Like, is it just me, or is his head super small? It looks very small. It's, like, upsettingly small. I will say, seeing something like this, I'm like, okay, is it literally just the world building that really caused people to, like, throw a fit? Like, if the IP were swapped for something more interesting, would it have made a big difference? And I've done a lot of thinking on it. I think it actually would. I really think part of like the Starfield problem was that it was boring mechanically, but also narratively. Like it was just really bland. There were no alien species if you missed it. Everything was just like, people have brought it up before, but it's like all alien cowboys, alien, like space cowboys, there's space pirates, there's like, it literally is just a standard Bethesda RPG, but space. Like there was very little extra done beyond that. But they built this out, dude, and it's just straight up Star Wars, but Starfield. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. And honestly, they did a good job. Apparently it takes 100 gigs to install this thing though, which is absolutely crazy. Maybe I'll try doing that. Maybe I'll try installing the mods and doing it. Cause it could be fun. Tweaked speeders and vehicles and stuff. It's pretty fire, dude. It's pretty fire. Pretty fire. So there you go. There you go. If you wanted a reason to jump into Starfield, there you go. You just got it. You just got it. Do you think Starfield 2.0 is going to be on that level? Maybe, probably not, but maybe. You never know. Anyway, there you go. Close down the story about the insane 5K GPU. It's just gonna, that pisses me off. What am I drinking? I'm drinking something called Azevia. It's like a 0-calorie soda thing sweetened with stevia. It's very good. Highly recommend it. They made it at the worst. Hold on. They made it at the worst people weren't looking for new Bethesda IP when 2020 started. Oh, do you mean the worst time? They made it at the worst time people weren't looking for a new Bethesda IP in 2020. I just think like it's a very good problem to have two IP, Elder Scrolls and Fallout, that people love dearly and want more of desperately. That's a fantastic problem to have. But if you're gonna be so bold as to like go and not touch those for years, that's a problem. Especially if it doesn't live up to the hype. Like people were upset and still are pissed about there being no, for example, there being no new GTA for so long, and that Rockstar was going and doing Red Dead 2 first. It's crazy to think of now, but people were actually peeved when they announced Red Dead Redemption that they weren't going straight into GTA. Which after we got Red Dead, it's like, thank God they went and did Red Dead because that's so good. But that's the standard that's different. I mean, it's just, if you're going to do that and you're going to go away from the thing everybody wants and thinks is obvious, you got to nail it. And they just didn't nail it. And that's, I think, why it was so devastating. But it's also, I think, more generally just with Bethesda, the big problem is just frankly that they have not had a W in freaking, dude, how long has it been? Like Fallout 4 was popular and did really well. I don't know if you could say that it was like a full-on W, but like it wasn't a disaster or anything. But man, they needed more. Okay. Just pulling up my little videos for reference that we're going to talk about. We're going to go through these and break it up. It's going to be good. Okay. Oh, I have to pull up. Hold on. One of the games we're going to talk about, I have to pull up a Mr. Beast video. I wonder what game it could be. I wonder. Oh, you know what I need? I found something. I found something from Summer Games Fest that was very topical. I found it and I feel like I need to go grab that. Okay, I got that pulled up. Okay, we're good. Real quick, how are you guys? How is everybody doing before we get into this? You ready? Mr. Yeast, more like it. I don't even want to know what that means. Yeah, Luke, we didn't see the video about Red Dead 2 video or yesterday. Oh yeah, the Red Dead 2 comparisons are lying to you. Yeah, I want to do that if we have time because I've heard the video is very good. A bunch of you guys have recommended it. Ended up spending an hour and 40 minutes going through the biggest games coming in 2026. Which, I mean, thankfully there's a ton. And it's like, the fact that that video turned into an hour and 40 minutes is crazy. But I think it just reaffirms how good next year is going to be, I think. Halberg, thank you for the resub over on Twitch. Only 5 more hours till New Year's here. So happy New Year's to everyone when you get there. Yes, happy New Year's to everybody. Welcome. Glad to have you here if you chose to be here. And yeah, hopefully you have a safe time tonight. Because New Year's is one of the most dangerous days of the year, especially for like driving in the States at least. So be careful out there. Be careful. Stay safe. David, thank you for the new membership, by the way. And then Coca-Cola, thank you for the 5. Do you think we see a return to yearly releases for big IPs? The 5 to 10 year cycles is unsustainable as an industry. Cheers from Michigan. I don't know if it goes to yearly, but I do think that scope and budgets have to tighten. They just do. Like, you can't make Spider-Man 2 for 300 million and expect that to be profitable. It just doesn't work long term. Like, if you have one oopsie, your whole company is screwed. Like, you just can't do that. So I think you'll see much smaller and tighter in scope projects. I think that that's very likely, but yeah, I don't know if it goes all the way to, like, you know, something as crazy as annual releases again, but they'll definitely be smaller. And if that results in annual releases, so be it. But I think if they can get budgets down and do like every other year for a lot of this stuff, it'll be fine. As for like some companies, I'm like I told you guys yesterday, for Ubisoft, the odds are very, very high that we actually will see it go as like we could see up to four Assassin's Creed games next year, which is crazy to think about. But like, seriously, that's what they have lined up. And that's been lined up for years. It's not like a new thing or yeah, there's going to be like, you know, the YouTube channels. There's going to be the guys who are like, clearly after AC Shadows, they expedited and put these 4 games out as if games can be pumped out in 9 months. It's insane. It's insane. But yeah, I mean, those types of people aren't too concerned with what makes sense. Stop right there. Thank you for the 5. Hey, Luke, I got KCD2 Royal Edition for $40 on Steam. So excited to waste 100 years of my life, 100 hours of my life. 40 and slip apparently. Baby, it's not wasting. It's not wasting. You're gonna go and explore. You're gonna engage with stories. You're gonna meet people. You're gonna live another life. You're gonna feel quite hungry. You're gonna praise Jesus Christ. Yeah, you'll live it. It's not a waste. It's not a waste. Don't feel bad. Be thankful. Be thankful you're not playing some of the games we're about to talk about. That would be a waste. That would be a waste. What you are doing in KCD2 is not a waste. That's not a waste, you know? It's not a waste. Hawk Rock, did you see they said the new James Bond was a modern version of him? Yeah, I read this story and like, I read the actual quote that was said. And I think a lot of people are revving themselves up. They effectively said they wanted to do a James Bond that reflected like the modern day as opposed to the 1960s, which I don't think is like a crazy thing. Like, can you imagine? Because again, you just got to ask, like, what would be the alternative statement? We wanted to go full Sean Connery, where James Bond just gets in there and starts slapping women around. Like, if they said that, it would be a problem. Obviously, they can't say that. So, of course, they're going to say the thing that, like, is in line with what you'd expect for like, typical marketing. I saw people freaking out about it, but, like, come on, guys. Like, what did you expect them to say? You know, just silly. James Bond with student loans. I did see, if they had said that, that would have been like freaking hilarious. If they're like, James, you know, he entered the service and every mission is about, you get paid out for each mission. And then you have to choose what percentage goes towards coffee or goes towards student loans. Like, that would be freaking hilarious. Imagine if they just had like, there's like a new meta within game design where it's the Caleb Hammer meta. And it's like every mission pays out some monetary value and then you have to budget it. That would be freaking funny. Oh, I wish they would do that. Because, you know, old school games, they used to do that. Every mission that you'd complete, you'd get like $5,000 paid out. It was just like a weird way of doing XP, basically. The new version should be that you have to budget it and pay it towards student loans. I will say, I won't name names, of course, but somebody I know had like a full-blown meltdown on social media because his student loans, he's not been paying them for like years, and his wages are going to start to be garnished because of it. And he's like melting down that like they can't do that. They can't do it. I was like, bro, they literally can. Like, what do you mean they can't? They literally can. You take out a loan and you don't pay it for years. Yeah, they're going to get their money back. It's like, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Do you think I enjoyed writing big checks and spending a ton of money on paying off my student loans? No. I would much rather have spent that money on like a sports car. And a lot of kids and like people my age who come into some money doing YouTube or whatever else, they go and buy the sports car, burn the cash, and then they end up screwed and broke like a couple of years later. I instead spend the money that I had coming in to like pay my employees and establish a healthcare plan for them and retirement accounts and then pay off my student loans. Like, we did it very differently. It's way less exciting, but I think it's the responsible thing. You know? Yeah, we just invested in RAM. Exactly. We just stockpiled RAM. What do you think is in that closet? Yeah, nothing but RAM. But yeah, it was so funny watching him. I was like scrolling through and it just got more and more unhinged as he's like melting down, because you see the full panic of like realizing my actions have consequences, and now I have to live with the consequences. That's what he had to do, man. It's just like, no, if you take out any loan for anything and you don't pay it for years, you don't get to act shocked when they start garnishing your wages and doing like, that's just, it's like, dude, there was another guy I knew. I've told this story before because it was so insane. He had a car, like, you know, those Subaru cars that like a decade ago, everyone was buying and decking out and customizing. And like, they didn't look particularly fancy or anything. I'm not a car guy. Like, I don't know anything about cars, but like, he was going and he got a Subaru and then did like all the crazy customizations to it. And then one day he doesn't show up for whatever we were doing. It's like a meetup or class or something. And we're like, what is it? He's like, yeah, sorry, I missed the bus. I was like, what happened to your car? And he's like, it got repoed. We're like, what? How did that happen? What do you mean? He's like, yeah, it's ridiculous. I only missed a few payments. I was like, okay, now I don't feel bad. Okay. You miss a few payments, you stop paying your car, and then they repossess. Like, that's what happens. If you needed help, I'm sure you could have asked people, but you don't get to casually say, I missed a few payments, and then get upset and act like you're the victim. Like, come on, man. That means you can't afford the car. Get a different car. But instead, like, he just thought he could not pay payments, and then he gets upset when his car gets repoed. Like, man, that's just how that works. How rude. Yeah, dude. It's that, like, at the time I was driving, like, my first car was a 1996 Volvo. Yeah, baby. No, it wasn't even an 850. It was a Volvo, I guess wagon is what it would be described as. Yeah, it's described as a luxury car. I drove a little, it wasn't quite this red. It was like at least I remember it being a darker red, but this was my first car. When I got it, I think it was 2016. So it was 20 years old. But this was my first car and it was like $500. You couldn't take it on the highway. One, because it would shake and rattle and then the steering wheel would get loose. I'm not joking. And it also started to smell like burning plastic when you took it above like 55. So, yeah, but as a student who didn't have any money, it was perfect. It was perfect. And it worked great. It was literally, you know, Breaking Bad, Gus Fring, he drives one of these in those episodes. And it's an example of how like humble and unassuming he was. The difference was that show was filmed 10 years before I owned the car. So I was a little late to the trend. But yeah, it's literally Gus Fring's car. But this car was great for what I needed it to do. It's terrible in the snow, but it was good for what I needed it for as a student. I didn't need a car that was newer than 20 years old. You know, it served the purpose. But dude, people in my, like, when I was going to college, it was funny. If I was at the business school, because I was in college at this time, in the business school, nobody made fun of the car. Everybody was like, nice. No, that's perfect. If I went and I took like an elective at the liberal arts college, or I took an elective somewhere else in the campus, like I went and did like some theater and acting classes, playwriting classes and stuff at the arts school on campus. And if I showed up in this car to that part of the campus, dude, they would mock me. They would say, oh, you're driving a hearse, stuff like that. And I thought that was really interesting, that like the business school kids were always like, that makes sense. It's responsible. It's an affordable car. You don't need to bother with it. But then the kids who are like going to school for like these arts degrees and financing everything, they had the gall to like criticize me. Well, who's laughing now? I can get any Lego set or sword I want, bitch. Those same people are crashing out right now because their wages are getting garnished, you know? It was just like, especially to mock people for being frugal with stuff. It's just dumb. It was just so dumb. You know, it hurt my feelings at the time. You grow up, you evolve, and then you're like, you know what? No, screw that.
Velvet Patterns donated $10 through Super Chat. Pete Parsons here. How much? You know what they say, Luke. New year, new car.
New year, new car. I will say the only new car I've considered for, it's not for me, it's for Nikki, my wife. She saw a video of one of these and I saw the video because she shared it with me, and I was like, actually that's pretty baller. The new Kia Tellurides. I was like, I could, you know, as a family car to take the kids around, I could see getting one of these. The Tellurides are crazy popular in Colorado right now because they're all-wheel drive, really good in the snow. So I've considered getting one of these whenever they start shipping and selling them, just for like as the family car, you know? It's just like a good-looking, futuristic-looking car. Kia's really turned it around. Like, I don't know. We'll see it. Anyway. Sounds like something only said in America. Yeah, I'm sure in other countries it's not a big problem, but for us it's like a 20-30 minute drive to go anywhere. So hybrid or full electric? Probably hybrid, but it's, I don't know. Hybrids also, I transparently don't know much about them in the modern day. When I was looking at them like 5-6 years ago, when I was commuting to Denver every day, they told me at the time hybrids primarily had a benefit for city driving, because it was like when you're driving under, I think it was like 30 miles an hour, it used the battery, but on the highway it would have to use the engine. So they were like, it probably doesn't save you that much gas money, but if you were like living in the city, it could save you a lot. But maybe it's better now. I don't know. Don't keep up on it, frankly. If you get a Telluride, get it imported from Korea. You can do that. Oh. I drive a Hyundai SUV, perfect for our shitty roads. Yeah, well, that's good. Hyundai and Kia are the same company, right? They're owned by the same company? I think so. Yeah. 5-year lease max. They are a B to fix. I've heard that. The problem is, because of where we live, it's like you want to go into the city, it's like a 20, 25 mile, trip. And so leases are not that forgiving for our particular situation, because you're going to hit your mileage cap quick, especially if it's your primary vehicle that you're taking like the kids to school in the morning. So yeah. Anyway, sorry for everybody that's like, here for gaming. sorry, sucks to suck. Let's do the thing. Okay. It's time for the Concord Awards. Sing your songs of praise for the most mediocre games of all. It's time. Get a plug-in hybrid. I drive a Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. I drive over 100 miles a day. Oh, interesting. Okay, hold on. I'm going to pull this, copy into a new tab. Thank you for the suggestion. I will check that out, because I'm sure it's better now than it was 5-6 years ago. But if it makes sense for longer drives now, that could save us a ton, because we chew through gas with like a traditional car. It's just got to drive a long way. Okay. Here we are. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time officially for the Concord Awards. We're going to break this up over the course of this stream. We're going to do the Concord Award, and then I'm going to do like my Game of the Year award, and I'm going to do the community selection, because I put up a poll for you guys to vote on. We had tens, I think across both channels, we had over 100,000 people vote in the polls for what you guys selected as your Game of the Year. And so we're going to go through that. But first, we're going to look at the Concord Award for 2025. Honestly, more competition than you would have thought. I know, like, when you first think of it, it's kind of assumed that, oh, you got to be talking about like Mind's Eye or something, because that was like a very recognizable big one. But here's the thing. The Concord Award lives on in our hearts for many different reasons, not just because it failed, but Concord, in my opinion, primarily failed because of what it represented to gamers and how they found it detestable, that it represented corporate greed and wasteful spending on something that never was going to find an audience, because it's just the same thing we've seen 1,000 times. And so gamers rebelled against it and celebrated its execution, in the public square, not just because they thought that it was bad, but because they hated what it represented. So the Concord Award doesn't just encompass that aspect of like failure, but also represents, or it also should encompass what it represented. And I think that's the crucial bit here. Okay. Because it's a mixture of greed with delusion, with overhype, all of that stuff. And when you factor that in, there's actually a good number of candidates from this year, a shocking number, frankly. Yeah, Highguard's not even out yet, but it deserves an award. Well, it's a front runner for next year's award, and we'll get there. We'll see. Maybe that ends up blowing up and being huge. By this point next year, we could be talking about like a Horizon multiplayer online game. Maybe that ends up being super successful. Who knows? But Highguard will probably have, who knows, maybe Fair Game $sign in the mix there. Who knows? Next year's also going to be a big year for this award. But this year I wanted to talk about our candidates. Our candidates for this year are you ready? The nominees are King of Meat. This is the first nominee. It was something that released back in October. We actually got the chance to play it early at Summer Games Fest, and I actually have a piece of merch I want to show you at some point. I may frantically run upstairs here in a minute to go grab it. I basically got a King of Meat hat that they gave me in a goodie bag, because this was designed as a game where you can build little arenas for you and your friends to go through, and then you can go through those arenas with friends, or you can list them on the community site so that you can all compete against it, paying for skins and cosmetics and stuff, going through and fighting waves of monsters and enemies and stuff. Not a bad idea. When I played it, it was ridiculously easy. And as a result, it felt a lot like it was targeting children. And that's something that was reaffirmed when it was featured the day after it launched in a Mr. Beast video. This Mr. Beast video, he did his standard thing, beat this game, win $250,000. He brought together a bunch of like Roblox and Fortnite YouTubers, and they came together and did their typical thing of yelling at the camera.
Okay, make sure you're sprinting. Make sure you're sprinting. All right, trampoline jump. Good. All right, here we go.
Great commentary. Trampoline jump. So they did this, and this video got altogether 7 million views. Okay, that's more than it had recently. When I first talked about this in a video, it was funny. I actually I made my video talking about the King of Meat debacle, and then Charlie Moist Critical made a video on the same topic like 18 hours after we published it, because he saw the same article that jump started our discussion of it. And so out of nowhere, this game went from being relatively unknown to like tons of people hearing about it. And so this video originally had like 6.8 million when I first started talking about it, like a month ago, a few weeks ago. And after Charlie's video, it also skyrocketed up to like 7 million. So it's got a lot of exposure is the point. But the raw exposure before, people were looking at it as like a lol cow of a game. They were looking at it, they were looking at over 6.5 million views on this video, specifically promoting this game. You know what's insane? This video, the whole purpose was to get people to go over, buy it, and play it. Did it work? Well, no, it didn't. It did not work. Partially, I think, because they are charging $30 for this, or they are charging like $50 for the deluxe edition, which is crazy. But what happened if we look at the charts? Let me enhance, pull this back all the way to launch. It launched on October 2nd to 212 concurrent players on Steam. 212. I'm going to tell you their expectations in a second. The next day, the Mr. Beast video goes up. Their peak concurrent goes up by 50 players. They spent, I'm sure, 7 figures on the Mr. Beast video. There's no way they spent less than that. Like, it was $1 million+ video, okay? I'm just going off of rates and what he's talked about charging before. Like, they spent a lot of money on that video. And they got 50 players. 50 players concurrent added on that day. That's unbelievable. The conversion rate on 6.5 million views to 50 players. And granted, I'm sure there were some more on console. Probably not that many more. But still, I see the point. How many views did the video get the first day? I don't have that tracking data. But at the very least, you can see, even if you assume that the video did maybe like 1 million the first day or 2 million the first day, and then it did subsequently less and less and less, you can see over the next few days, it's not like it got better. It continued to drop and drop and drop and drop, and it just never really recovered. Then they started putting it on deep sales and pushing it all over the place, but it didn't really do much of anything. Now, this game, you might be wondering, what the hell is this? Well, it's published by Amazon Game Studios, okay? It's already being discussed that they may have to shut down the entire thing. They might have to shut down the studio that made this. Some of the other projects they've been involved in, for example, is Lost Ark, which... you know, and then Throne and Liberty. They are doing Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis. So this one that's hotly anticipated is also published by Amazon Games, but they don't have a phenomenal track record. And I think the reason why this could easily be a strong contender for Concord Award of the Year is because it represents something that is so prevalent in our industry, which is this like corporate approach to gaming, where they think if they just throw money at something, it will make it work. And with this, we gave them feedback at Summer Games Fest that it was too easy. I spoke to other creators who tried it at Summer Games Fest, and they agreed it was too easy. It felt like a game for children. And then they marketed this in this way, where they brought in all these multimillionaire Roblox YouTubers, 35-year-old people that are screaming about trampolines, and they had them push and promote this game and it didn't convert to anything because I don't know if the views are fake. I find it hard to believe that if 7 million people actually watched this video, that only 50 of them would try the game. I just find that hard to believe, but maybe that is true. If that's true, that's unbelievable that there's that few people watching this content that actually have like agency to go buy a video game. But it maybe is exactly the point that if Mr. Beast's audience is like mainly 7-year-olds, they don't have mommy's credit card to go buy the $50 deluxe edition, you know, so it just doesn't convert. They watch the video and then they go back to Roblox. I don't know. But what is clear is that just something happened and they wasted a ton of money on this. They didn't listen to feedback that was critical, and instead they doubled down on trying to make a Roblox competitor. But spoiler alert, everyone who's playing Roblox is going to go back to playing Roblox. They're not going to play your game for $30 or $50. So this ended up being a catastrophic flop. And just to give you an idea of to what degree, it was reported shortly after or in the mix of all of this, there was some reporting done on King of Meat. Apparently executives within the company and Amazon expected and were demanding, like the expectation was, the standard was that King of Meat achieve roughly 100,000 concurrent players. They did not achieve their goal. And once again, when we talk about like delusion, yeah, just missed it. When we talk about delusion, which is also something that Concord was guilty of, thinking that, again, the statements leaking at the time that Concord came out was that Herman Holst was saying that it was going to be their like Star Wars level success, which is of course delusional. That's insane. And I would argue that it's also insane to think that this game was going to get anything more than like this level of player base. To think that they would achieve 100,000 player count concurrently, that's just ridiculous. It's insane. It's actually insane. Especially because if you look at some of the other contenders that are in that range, like you'd be talking about competing with Path of Exile 2 or GTA Online Legacy Edition, Bongo Cats. Like you'd be talking about being in the level of like Geometry Dash and Warframe and War Thunder. They have their own launchers, I guess. Battlefield 6 through Steam concurrence. Like you're talking about a game on that level. That's what they thought King of Meat was going to be. Delusional. But they didn't want to listen to feedback, you know? They didn't want to listen. So that one I think is a very strong contender, even though it's not as well known as Concord. Concord really blew up, whereas King of Meat in large part is something that flew under the radar. And to be clear with all of this stuff, I want to be clear. I should have like stressed this at the beginning, but I just want to be clear. There are very talented developers working on all of these games that we're about to talk about. Obviously, like I would hope that goes without saying. Very talented devs that know what they're doing, that are passionate about what they're doing, and they really are working to make the best games they possibly can. Most, if not all of these that we're discussing, the problems come down to managerial mistakes, overscoping, overpromising, crazy demands from executives that are never going to be lived up to. And I personally put a lot of blame at the feet of the executives who greenlight projects that were never going to be successful. Like if they greenlit King of Meat saying, oh, we're going to greenlight this because this needs to hit 100K concurrent. And when it does that, it'll make sense and be financially viable. Like they're setting the company up for failure. It's never going to achieve that. Anybody could have looked at these trailers and be like, yeah, it could be like a fun party game, but there's no way that this is going to do 100K concurrence. Like, are you crazy? Anybody could have told them that, but they didn't care to listen because they were like blinded at the hope of that live service money, you know, wanted a piece of that Roblox money. And, you know, the devs that put this together clearly knew what they were doing, very passionate. I think they put together a solid game. It just needed rebalancing if they wanted adults to play it who have $30 to spend. But even then, like, even if this was rebalanced and could be challenging, I still don't think it's probably worth $30 to $50 for whichever edition you want. This is like, you know, something you'd get as an indie game to play with your friends for a couple of nights. You know, maybe $5, $10, something like that. It could do well, but the idea that they were going to put this out for $30 or $50 is crazy. So anyway, that's a very strong contender, but I do want to stress that you know, this does not say anything negatively specifically about the developers. It's more about managerial mistakes and the idea that they honestly thought that would do 100K concurrent, which is insane. Moving on. Second nominee. This is also one that kind of went under the radar for some, but it was put out by a very accomplished studio that has won all sorts of awards. So critically acclaimed studio on paper, like it's technically within a universe that is also critically acclaimed. And that is FBC Firebreak. This was the game from Remedy. It's like a, I don't even know, team-based looter shooter, whatever you want to call it. It's also maybe an extraction shooter, you could say, but I don't know. It's confusing. It's confusing. This thing missed pretty much every target that they had set for it. And it seems like it was just an unmitigated disaster in terms of the launch performance. And then they've also just not been able to push updates fast enough to keep people engaged. This one, they did not do something as foolish as clearly state what they expected in terms of player counts or what they demanded. But it just ended up coming out at a time where there were other more compelling games offered. And it just really, really struggled to find any sort of footing. It just has not been able to do that. Reviews are sitting at mixed across everything. If you compare the Steam page for King of Meat, they only achieved 220 reviews total. This one at least did get up to 1,700, just under 1,800 reviews. So it's fair to say that they probably sold more copies, even at a $40 price tag. This game was launched at $40. It is on deep sale, but they did launch it at 40, which again is just kind of crazy. But they are sitting at a much a similar Steam DB user count. King of Meat was at 9 concurrent players as of right now. Firebreak or FBC Firebreak is at 18 players right now. In terms of overall peaks and what they achieved at launch, they did peak 6 months ago at just under 2K. And it's important to note that Firebreak also, I believe, was on Game Pass, I think. I'm not totally sure. But they also had a large PlayStation presence apparently as well. So it probably performed a good bit better than King of Meat. And I believe was a lot cheaper. My understanding is King of Meat was a very expensive project. It was on PS Plus day one. Oh, well, there you go, PS Plus. So the numbers, the concurrent player numbers are probably way higher than this if you factor in the PlayStation players. Whereas King of Meat, I mean, I'm sure some people were playing it on console and stuff, but I don't, obviously it wasn't enough to like really change the equation. But this was another one where, again, it's a capable team putting it together. It was just a concept that like never really made sense. The idea that you're going to put this out and it's just going to be another shooter, like team-based shooter, that you're going to charge $40 for it. Like there's just, this never made sense. Like from the moment it was announced, everybody was like, what? And that's my frustration, is that they set the team up for failure, and then the team is the one that's going to suffer the consequences. You know, the executives that greenlit this and wasted millions upon millions upon millions of dollars on it, they're not going to suffer any consequences. It's usually the teams that get laid off and stuff, and that's why it's shameful. Our next nominee is one that I hold near and dear to my heart because I freaking love the franchise historically, and that is, of course, my tabs have been showing, so you can see the tabs, so it's not going to come as a surprise, I guess. But that is, of course, Civilization 7. Civ 7. Civ 7. Sorry. I had to. Civ 7 also is like a candidate for one of the most disappointing games of the year. It's just, this was a big oof. Big oof.
At Total Malarkey donated $20 through Super Chat.
It's malarkey.
Little late, but got my first car from a scrapyard for $200. 2003 PT Cruiser with Custom,
Ooh,
two-tone paint job.
hell yeah.
Purple on bottom, silver on top.
Hell yeah.
A Magnaflow
A Magnaflow exhaust and dark tinted windows. Terrible car, but perfect first car. Dude, that's awesome. You got the Walter Jr. car, but even more kitted out. That's baller, dude. The PT Cruiser is such a vibe, man. That's such a vibe of a car. That's great. Yeah, I think everybody needs to start with a clunker. Everybody I knew in high school that was gifted a really nice car as their first car, they're all assholes. Cancel me, I don't care. It's just my opinion. I would tell it to them in their face, dude. Everyone who was gifted a new car, they all are miserable right now, okay? They did nothing. Nothing. Terrible. No talent. Who the hell are you? They're no one. Who do you think you are? I am. Tell you what. Right here, right now, okay? Donut on YouTube made a video about the PT Cruiser community. Some mods are rad. Dude, I know it gets memed on a lot. I don't think it's an ugly car. Like, I don't think it's immediately icky. You know what I do think is icky? I don't remember what they're even called. Those like cube cars. You remember what I'm talking about? Those like squared off cube cars. Is it? Yeah. The Nissan Cube, dude. These things I find so ugly. I'll take a Cybertruck over this any day. I think this is like so freaking stupid looking. I don't know why. It triggers the hell out of me. I just think it's so ugly. I think it's so ugly. It's crazy. Yeah, the Kia Soul, is that another one? Kia Soul. This one isn't bad. I think the reason why the other one triggered me is because the windows are not symmetrical. So like it has this like wraparound window. I cannot stand that. I need cars to be symmetrical. In my brain, this is just upsetting. This is just upsetting. So yeah, cancel me. I don't care. Just my opinion. You can try to cancel me. Fine. Cancel me. It's ugly as hell. I don't care. Anyway, shout out to Clunker First Cars. But if you got a Clunker for a first car, tell me in chat. I want to know what you got. We got to represent the community because people are going to watch this clip and they need to see our vast array, you know? Okay. But going back to Civ. So Civ 7 is a game that had a lot of like hype and expectation on it, and they just missed the mark, dude. Like it's just not ready. I think at launch they didn't even have the ability to set scouts on auto explore, which is insane.
At Grimtotem001 donated $10 through Super Chat. My first car was an 82 Jeep Cherokee I bought for $1,000 in Alabama.
In
It
Bama.
had a gas leak so bad in the injectors that when I drove my entire car smelled like fresh gas.
Dude, that's horrifying. Dude, if I'm in a car, like bear in mind what cars are. It is a metal and glass box that is propelled forward at high speeds with little explosions. If I get in a car and it starts to smell like gas, I get out of the car. You're hardcore, dude. I would not drive that car for a block if it started smelling like gas. I don't mess with that. I don't mess with that at all. Silver, thank you for the 21 months. I had a 2004 Audi A6 in 2019 as my first car. Amazing car with 200K miles on it. Lasted only a year, but well worth it for $1,000. Dude, that's good. You know, high mileage car, you learn a lot. It's also good to have as a first car if it's a high mileage car, just because like it forces you to do maintenance. Like when I replaced the brake pads on my old Volvo thing by hand because I couldn't afford to take it to a shop, and I spent all day doing it, and I was horribly dirty and like I had no idea what I was doing. It gave me a newfound appreciation for you know, for mechanics and people who do that for a living. And I think that's important. It's why I also say that everybody should have to work in fast food. It should be like a law. Everyone has to work in fast food. Everyone should have to work in retail. It will make you a better person, and you'll be way nicer to everybody around you because you know what they're going through. Dude, working in retail over the holidays, that is like, that should be a candidate for prison sentences. Make people do that. It's miserable. Respect to everybody who still works in those roles. I get it. I was there. You'll escape eventually. You can do it. Civ 7. This one, yeah, so they didn't have the ability for scouts to auto explore. The menus all are god awful. The UI, whoever they hired to do the UI in this game, screwed it up across the board. This is the IGN review, which is why it's like all over the place. It was buggy. It was lacking features that were basic in the previous games. They also set up a new feature where like you change civilizations as you go through the eras, which like completely defeats the purpose of selecting a civilization at the start. Like so many things in this game didn't make any damn sense at all and were just horrible. And I'm somebody who played a crap ton of the previous games like Civ 5. I played a ton of Civ 5. Been getting into Civ 6 recently. Me and my wife, Nikki, have been playing it as like a couples game. We do big matches against each other, and I just beat her the other night. It was good for my self-esteem. She plays religion and it like drives me crazy because I will like be doing amazing. I'm like putting satellites in orbit in the 1500s, and then she's over there like spreading her religion. I think in the last game her religion was just called ass, so she's spreading ass across the globe, and she'll like sneak in and win like out of nowhere because she was pushing religion. I didn't touch it at all. And dude, it drives me crazy. So I need to get better at working religion. Somebody, one of you guys, when I mentioned it the other day, you're like, yeah, religion's pretty OP. Also in real life too. This is freaking funny. I told her about that. I was like, it's pretty hilarious. So I love me some Civilization. Civ 7, dude, was terrible. It was terrible. It's just, it literally was probably a year and a half, 2 years too early. It just was nowhere near ready. And it was disappointing because it's like this almost every time where they launch a new Civ, it's lacking features, it's terrible, and then they add in DLC that makes it better, and eventually it gets good enough that people start to move over. But to just give you an idea, Civ 5, which launched in 2010, right now has 16,000 concurrent players. Some of these others that we've talked about launched in October and have 9 players. Okay. FBC Firebreak launched back in June. 18 players. Civ 5, 16,000. Okay. So Civ 5, 16,000. Civ 6, 35,000. Like, it's a Wednesday morning and they have 35,000 players. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's how much people love these games, though. This one launched in 2016. It's a decade old, and it's got 35,000, okay? Because it's a good, solid game that people love. Civ 7 is not quite on the level, to put it mildly, as some of these other games. This mainly is getting nominated for the Concord Award because of how disappointing it was. It still has 9,000 players in-game right now. There are still people playing it and pushing it. It got 51,000 reviews. It no doubt sold many, 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 many copies. I know for me, I have Civ 7 in my library. I haven't booted it up, I don't know, in like 9 months or something. Like it's just there's no reason to play it. It's missing so many features. Eventually I'll play it, no doubt, when they eventually fix it. But right now you're just getting, you know, a shell of a game, and it's really, really too bad. But without a doubt, this is our best performant game compared to all of the others that we are discussing for the Concord Award. But it was such a swing and a miss. Still. Ogre, thank you. Now we have to talk about our final nominee. You know what it's gonna be.
At Ogre Guru donated $10 through Super Chat. 97 Chevy Blazer for $500.
Ooh, yeah, the
Vented exhaust
Blazers.
into the back seat and had completely bald tires. Taught me how to drive in Minnesota winters. Also 9 miles to the gallon.
9 miles to the gallon, dude. That's crazy. Dude, my uncle owned, I think it was also a 97 Chevy Blazer, and that car, it was great in like Colorado winters. I remember that car being like super reliable. They had it forever. I don't know whatever happened to it. I should ask him. But yeah, he had that thing. I don't think it vented exhaust into the back seat. That's insane. But yeah, the old Chevy Blazers, dude, those things were great. People loved them. Like, people love those things. Oh, thank you for the 10. That's crazy. Okay. Do I like Anno? Yeah, dude, I love Anno. I love me some Anno. like I've told you guys, my guilty pleasure games are games like strategy games like Civ or Anno, or one of the other ones I've told you guys about that I just really like for some reason is Another Brick in the Mall.
Blackthorn_6895 donated $50 through Super Chat.
Jesus.
Personally, I feel that Metal Gear Solid Increment, Snake Eater, STALKER 2, Heart of Chernobyl, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and Avatar Frontier.
I stopped reading it. I gotta fix that. It always cuts it off. And Avatar Frontiers of Pandora are the best looking modern games. My first job was fast food. My third and current job was retail. Hey, you're getting there. You're doing good. Some people can do retail and do really well, and like they don't mind it, or even they like it. One of my bosses was like that. She's like, no, I like it. I like seeing and meeting so many different people. Like she ate it up. For me, I'm too much of an introvert, I think. But yeah, I would agree. I think a lot of those, there's other obvious ones that you could probably toss in there too. Like, what was it? I'm blanking on it. There was another, I mean, you could throw in like God of War Ragnarok in there. That's also a stunning game graphically. Like there's a lot you could toss in there for sure. But yeah, those are all fantastic. Those are all beautiful, beautiful games. Avatar, again, being Ubisoft, Avatar gets a lot of crap, but dude, Avatar is a beautiful game. It really is. Okay. Yeah, the City Skylines, yeah, RimWorld, all those. This one is just like one of those sim games, but you're building a mall. I love these types of games. I don't know why. Games like Factorio, I ate those up too. They don't really fit with my content style, so I never really talk about them or make videos on them. But dude, these types of games, these sim games, I love them. I love them. They're my guilty pleasure. Like, dude, you can make an entire mall like this, and you have to figure out the logistics of where people are going to park and manage traffic flows and everything. I love it. I love it. And this one, again, Another Brick in the Mall, $4 right now. $4. If you like these types of sim games, go check it out. It's good. It's nothing crazy. It's just a good time. Okay. Final nominee. This one is not going to surprise anybody, and that's totally fine. Mind's Eye. This one is sort of like the obvious one to point out, just because it was so visible and it was so well known and discussed. But there's a couple of reasons why I don't think it's necessarily a slam dunk. For one, this is a single player game. It originally started as Everywhere, which was this like Roblox platform-esque idea where they wanted to have a platform that people would log into and could build their own sort of games and experiences within it. And they would, of course, get the benefits of that. It also, it's been leaked after the fact, but my suspicion when I was talking about this game before launch, which was that Everywhere as a platform originally was supposed to have NFTs in it, and then that got scrapped, and so then they pivoted into doing just this as a standalone game. And after the fact, after it launched, some employees said that NFTs were part of the original vision for it, and then it got, of course, scrapped. NFTs kind of went belly up, and so they pivoted away from that and then just tried to make a video game. But this was once more a very capable team, very talented team. Like, you can't make what you're seeing on screen without knowing what you're doing. The problem was, once again, leadership. They had a really toxic workplace culture. They had really toxic crunch culture. They had problems where, like, for example, they would have all of these things they needed to get done in the game. And what you would do is, if you found a bug or a problem in the game, you would support or submit a support ticket. You submit a ticket, and then the team goes and works through the tickets based on priority and all of that. The head of this company was a guy named Leslie Benzies. He, of course, was a producer on GTA, on Red Dead. That's part of the reason he got the funding for this, was because he promised like the next GTA, basically. And he had what was called internally Leslie tickets, which was anything he said, you had to drop everything and take care of before anything else. Things like that. It was understood that if you didn't agree with Leslie on everything he said, that you would not get promoted, that you would be passed up. And then if there were layoffs or restructurings, you were first on the list for it because you were seen as a problem child, basically. Like, you're not a team player if you don't agree with everything he said. So this certainly was a managerial issue. The devs were incredibly talented. They knew what they were doing. This was a management issue through and through. What's also interesting is that this was the first game published by IOI Partners. IOI right now is giving me super strong like Ubisoft as of probably 2012, 2013 vibes. Like I think IOI is about to probably explode into something way bigger. And they've started experimenting with publishing, and this was their first venture into that. And I think really what happened is that Mind's Eye needed more delays, but IOI had given them so much time and so much money, and they just finally were like, get over yourself. You're going to release it, and put the hard deadline. And so they had to shove it out the door. But I think that IOI got dragged along by Build a Rocket Boys leadership for sure. Because I think once it became clear what the game was and how it was not ready, they were just like, we're going to get it out the door and move on. That's what we're doing. We just put an end to this. Put it down, put it out of its misery. But this one was a big project that they spent a ton of money on, and a lot was riding on it, no doubt. And it, as you can see, did not go over too well. It did peak with 3,300 players 6 months ago. There's 28 players in it right now, which actually puts it above some of our other nominees, 18, and then Concord's, of course, at 0. King of Meat, though, is at 9. So it is, doing pretty well with 28. But this was another case where people tried it, and then just the moment they saw what the game was, it was super buggy at launch. It was super broken, obviously just not ready. They decided to dump it, and I'm sure a lot of players refunded it too. And over time, it just kind of fell and dipped down. They have done further updates on it. They've reached out to content creators to help try and promote it and get people to give it another chance, because they have reportedly done some work on it to try and get it working better. It's just not quite there. You can see recent reviews are actually very positive. 85% of the 82 reviews are positive. And who knows how many of these are totally legitimate, but after 6 months, the game is playable, which is already a significant achievement. Let's see. This car's doubles at high speed, but this is no longer a problem since the game has finally been optimized. Yes, there's still some flaws, but it's already playable. I pre-ordered the game. I was very unhappy with whatever happened to the release. You can take it with a deposit for the future. I don't even know what that means. At launch, it sounded like a disaster, but what I'm playing now is far from unplayable. Is that the standard? It's not unplayable. The devs clearly put effort into fixing performance. Driving sections are fun, and even though combat needs more work, it's very playable. The reviews are are harsher than the actual experience. If the team keeps updating, this could turn into something really solid, and I hope they get the chance to do that and they're not walking away, which I think they deserve credit for. I think the point was, it was never going to be, at least from what people were trying, it was not a $60 game, which is what it launched at. Now it's half off. You can get it for $30. That's still probably a bit steep in its current state, but they're getting there. They also put out a demo for people to try it and give it a shot. I hope that they can recover. And, I don't like seeing studios go under. I don't like seeing talented devs get laid off, but it's just not, it wasn't ready. It needed more time. And I think most of that lands on the shoulders of the executives that mismanaged this whole thing. So those are our nominees for the Concord Award. King of Meat, FBC Firebreak, Civ 7, Mind's Eye. Very competitive year. I think for me, again, the Concord Award, it's about what it represents. It's about delusion and chutzpah. I think in the case of Civ 7, this was just a game that was not ready, and executives pushed it out. Lots of people still bought it. Some people are playing it and liking it.
At Superstar C donated $10 through Super Chat. My
Thank you.
first car was a 2001 silver Honda Accord. I paid $1,000 for the car. The car had roaches and the transmission was slipping. It was so bad the mechanic told me to take the car out back and shoot it.
Just put it down. Drive it into a pit and walk away. Get away from this thing. Dude, that's crazy. One time my brother, he drove a car and it had a coolant leak. but he wanted to go somewhere. So even though everybody told him not to, he got in the car and drove it, and the engine melted. So that would have been a way too. Cut a hole in the coolant line and then just drive. No matter what you smell, keep going. That's the key. Anyway, thank you for the 10. That's good. So Civ 7, again, I think it deserves the flack that it's gotten. And as a fan of the franchise, really disappointed personally. But I don't think it quite lives at the same level as some of these others, both in terms of delusion and in terms of just like outstanding greed. I get the vibe that they just were given really, really ridiculous timelines to get this done. And we're told, well, fix it later, improve it later. I'm sure in like 2-3 years, it's going to be really solid, just like the other games, because it's just kind of the story of Civ is that it starts really rough and eventually gets better. But we'll see. I think they also, again, I think they just need to get rid of the whole changing leaders thing. I just personally hate that. I find it so stupid. Anyway, Firebreak. This is another one. This is a strong candidate just because it just never made any sense at all. This whole concept never clicked, and I think everybody was baffled that they were doing this and charging a premium price tag for it. I think they did some things right by putting it, on PlayStation Plus for free so you could try it and download it and not have to put money up for it. I think that's the best way to handle something like this. But this one also, I just don't find, like, even nominating it for the Concord Award just seems kind of uninteresting. Like, it's so bland. I'm just like, it's just not quite there. And again, I don't think it's the developers' fault. The developers did as good a job as they possibly could have done. It just, as a concept, I don't think should have ever been greenlit. I just never think it was going to turn a profit to the level they needed it to. And so the fact that they greenlit it and are baffled that it lost money, that kind of lands on them. So for me, I think the two clear front runners are Mind's Eye and King of Meat. I think Mind's Eye is a case of a game with a lot of talented people working on it that was very ambitious, too ambitious for its own good. And because of mismanagement, it just got overscoped and it just kind of ran out of time and it was not ready. But to their credit, they are still working on fixing it. And I do think there is a version of Mind's Eye that is updated and improved that actually could be solid. Like, probably not a 10 out of 10 game, but I don't think it was ever going to be that. But I think that if they keep with it and they keep improving it, it could actually get to a point where it's like worth a fun weekend playthrough. I think it could get there, and they seemingly are committed to doing it, and I wish them the best of luck doing it. And when it's at that point, I will happily make a video and tell people that they should check it out, because they deserve credit for fixing it. So many studios launch something terrible and walk away from it and just take the money and run. That doesn't seem to be what they're doing. They're trying to fix it and make it right, which they deserve credit for. For me though, and I mean, this I just think is, after a lot of reflection and thought, yeah, exactly. The winner is Expedition 33. It's sweeping all the awards. For me, it just frankly comes down to really what Concord represented, which was excessive greed, which was delusion, an idea that was not that original to begin with. And that, I think, makes King of Meat the winner of the Concord of the Year Award 2025. This game, again, talented people working on it, but as an idea, as a concept, this was never going to get 100,000 concurrent players. It just never was going to get there. It's also, for me, maybe this is unfair, but for me, seeing the Mr. Beast video and knowing that they spent God knows how much money on this, that makes it like worse for me, that because it shows just a disconnect from the gaming community, that they thought that they could just throw Mr. Beast a crap ton of money, have him bring on all these Roblox streamers, and that he expected that would somehow convert to players and to success. And it's just so delusional and disconnected from reality. And then Mr. Beast, why is he yelling at me?
We did it! Come on, guys! Thank you, King of Meat, for sponsoring this go. All right, let's focus. I don't see any more. Go, 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 go. Let's go.
Dude, it's hard to watch. Like, am I a boomer? Am I just a boomer? I feel like this is just unwatchable. Like, it's every shot is no longer than like 4 seconds long and everybody's yelling. Man, I feel so old. I feel so old. But anyway. So to me, I think it's King of Meat. I also don't think that there's any saving this. It's rumored that leaks have suggested that they're working on shutting down the studio. Shocker, Amazon Games, not that forgiving. If you tell them you're going to get 100,000 concurrent players and all the millions of dollars that will bring, and then you catastrophically miss it, they are not going to be that forgiving, and they're not going to like give you a second chance. So Amazon seemingly is pulling the plug, and King of Meat will live on in our memory forever and ever. Amen. But congratulations to King of Meat for the Concord Award of 2025. Next year, I want to have a trophy made. I don't know if I can do that because I don't own the rights to the Concord logo, but you better believe I'm going to try. I actually, and I am not joking, I considered like going and finding a lawyer and then seeing if they could reach out to Sony PlayStation and what they would like charge for the rights to Concord as a franchise. But I was like, there's no way that they would do it. There's no way that they would ever sell the rights to that. Like, even now, I don't think they would do it. It's probably legal reasons for, like, they put the trailers up. They don't want to have potential problems with the trailer. But I was like, wouldn't that be so freaking funny if I bought the rights to Concord? Wouldn't that be so freaking funny? But yeah, anyway, money well spent, you know. People are starving out there, Luke. Yeah, well, I bought the rights to Concord. Wouldn't that be great? Just make it a grape. Oh, that's a good idea, Corey. What if we did the award for the Concord of the Year award and it's just a gigantic grape? We could put like a little sad face on it. That could be funny. That could be funny, actually. We should do that. I like that. Okay, Corey wins. We'll make it a grape. Next year, we'll make a trophy. We'll paint it and everything. That sounds fun. Okay, so congratulations to all of our nominees. It was a more competitive year than I expected it to be, but next year I actually think that there's going to be probably just as competitive, a lineup. Frankly, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good. And honestly, like this is for the memes. Like, we do it for the memes, but also just honestly, I think it's just important. Maybe this is just a philosophical difference. I'm a firm believer that mockery is and shame is a powerful, potent tool to change the world for the better. Like somebody's spreading flat earth stuff. Just like make fun of them and say that's super stupid. Like, don't really entertain it that much. Just be like, no, you idiot. What are you talking about? I really think that can make the world better. And so for this stuff, when the game is so bad, like mocking it and laughing at it and giving it a Concord Award of a sad grape face, I think that can make the industry better, because no studio, no publisher wants the Concord Award. No studio wants to be like laughed at or mocked. So they start to be much more careful and calculated with their decisions. They might start to reach out to people and get feedback on stuff before it happens. I've told you guys before, I have been contacted numerous times over the last like 3.5, 4 years to consult on games and projects, which obviously I can't tell you what they are. But I can tell you that multiple of the projects that I've consulted on have been canceled after I consulted with other people. There were other people there. But they've been canceled and walked away from after that consultation. And it's because they wanted to find out what people like in the community would say about the game before they put it out. They get the feedback that's all like super negative and people are like, what are you thinking? And they're like, okay, never mind. And they walk it back and they decide to cancel it before it gets too bad. Because this is the problem, is that the executives that greenlight this for $100 million, expecting 100,000 players, they do not suffer any consequences if it fails, They don't. They're like, shoot. Anyway, you're all fired. Like, that's what happens. And it sucks because the executives will be fine if they miscalculate. It's the employees and the talented devs that suffer as a result of those managerial delusions, I guess. But you know what executives hate even more than not making money? There was a story. There was a story a few years ago where EA, back-to-back years, I believe it was 2012 and 2013 or 2013 and 2014, EA won Worst Company in America 2 years in a row. Okay? 2 years in a row. There were articles written about how this award upset executives so much that they greenlit all sorts of initiatives to try and turn around the company's public image. Like, the fact that they won an award where their logo was turned into a pile of poop, that upset them more than like actual concerns over ethical violations and stuff like that. The bullying that they experienced actually like elicited change more than like anything else, like their customers voicing it or their employees vocalizing that they were unhappy. Like, the mockery brought about change, and that they actually tried to improve things. So who knows? Maybe in a few years, you know, the Concord Award will have had an impact or something. But for now, we're starting quite small. Corey says the award should be for the execs and publishers. The devs must always work their ass off and put everything they could into the game. It's so very often not their fault. Well, exactly. And even like, and this is what I've tried to stress in the videos that we've made, like on Concord, for example. You look at the cutscenes that they did in Concord. There is no way of twisting that into anything other than, like, at the time especially, like industry leading. Like, they had phenomenal motion capture, and the acting performances were really good as well. Like, it was very well done. The people, like, the gunplay in Concord was solid. All of these core mechanics were very good. They knew what they were doing, but they lost their jobs because this thing was greenlit that never should have been greenlit. If they had been greenlit to work on like a shooter in that sort of Guardians of the Galaxy style, or something that didn't have all of this baggage for needing to hit these player targets and stuff, it could have been a totally different story. But that's just what sucks, is that the people that are amazingly talented working on these games, they're working on the games the best way they know how, but they're not the ones that get to make the decisions for doing a 5v5 hero shooter. You know, they're not the ones that are making the decision for, you know, we're going to go hire Mr. Beast to promote it, and we need 100,000 players, otherwise everybody loses their jobs. Like, they're not the ones doing that. They're just showing up to work, doing the best that they can. And that's why ultimately, like, you know, it's why it's really funny to me that like the executives at EA took this more personally than anything else. Like, the idea that they won an award for being bad at their job. Like, the executives love shiny stuff. And so when they get something shiny that's making fun of them, they freak out. Okay. So I really think that the mockery of the executives for greenlighting this stuff could really, really potentially, you know, bring about something. At least they won something. Sure. But, and especially I think more than most of these things that we're discussing were avoidable. You know, projects like even an example like the Civ 7 example, I think every developer would have told you, we need more time, we're not ready. I think they all would have said that, because it wasn't ready. Like, you couldn't set scouts to auto explore. That's like a pretty basic feature in Civ, and you just couldn't do it. And like, they would have told you that, but they were, I mean, it's above their pay grade. It's something that's way above them for when they have to put it out and when they can greenlight, you know, when they need to hit certain deadlines and thresholds. So it's just, as with most things in the industry, it's coming from the C-suite. It's coming from the people up on the 14th floor that get to have broad sweeping demands for what happens. And what sucks is that the executives don't get punished when they screw up. It's the employees that get screwed up. So maybe the best counter is to just make fun of the executives and mock them. And so then they learn, you know, because you're not going to get the executive fired. The executive has control. But if you make the executive feel bad, maybe then they'll start to think, because clearly they don't care that much about laying people off or, you know, disrupting the lives of their employees. But maybe if you make fun of them and say that their work is poopy, maybe then they'll start to listen. It's sad, but it works, dude. It works. Jack, thank you for that. I'm trying really hard getting into KCD 2, but I'm struggling. Any advice? Happy New Year, and thank you for all the content. I'm gonna be real. Thank you for the 5, but I'm gonna be real. Sometimes games are just not for certain people, and that's okay. If you're not feeling KCD 2, if you're like 5-10 hours in and you're like, I'm just I'm not feeling it, that's okay. It just might not be for you. There's nothing wrong with that. So don't try to force a square peg in a round hole. You know, if it's not working, it's not working. As for you know, if you liked maybe the first game but you're not getting into this one, or you think you will like it and you just want to keep trying it, I would say more than anything in KCD 2, it's about letting go and just going for the vibe. You know, you're just in a medieval land and you just start to explore, maybe go hunting, you go off, you play some dice, like just let go. Because a lot of people will try to play games like that in a more traditional, like structured way, where they just go objective, quest, objective, quest, objective, quest. And it's okay if you like playing games like that. But KCD 2, I think, tries to open it up to let you just bounce off the sides of the bowling alley, you know, like they want you to be a ball that's bouncing all over, and eventually you end up knocking the pins over and you get to the end and you do what you need to do. But the journey is not a straight one. You're bouncing off the bumpers a lot, and that's okay, you know, but it just requires you to loosen up and let go a lot more. Yeah. Try to get to Gutenberg and experience it. Yeah, once you get to Gutenberg, it's fantastic. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. D1 Diavolo, maybe. Thank you for a 3-stream streak. I do like how Twitch tracks like stream attendance streaks. That's really cool. I just think that's cool. Also, lots of stealing. Dude, I stole. I stole at the preview event we did. They brought us to New York City and we went to a little gaming cafe, and they rented out a little back room, and we went and we played KCD 2 there for 7 hours. And that was the preview event. It was not like super structured. They did not have like dedicated missions for us to try. It was just start the game, play for 7 hours. There you go. It was really cool. It was great. Big fan. But they did that. And while I was playing it, at one point I stole something and I got sent to the pillory, and I had fruit and veg tossed upon my head. And because that happened, and then I got all the debuffs that happened from it, I missed a deadline for a quest because the guy tells you, meet me here and then we'll go find the bandits or whatever. I missed it. I basically was in the pillory during that time. And so I didn't get to do the quest. And some of the people there like hadn't seen somebody do that. I think it was Sir Toby was like, I don't think anybody has committed a crime that early that they screwed up the quest. Like, you didn't screw up the quest. The quest accounted for it. I went and found the guy that was supposed to take me to the bandits, and we were going to do the mission together. And he's like mad at me because he's like, where were you? We waited for you and you didn't do anything. You didn't show up. So we went, we took out the bandits. It's fine, but you don't get any of the loot or anything that was there. It was pretty fun. Like, it was pretty crazy. But yeah, you can commit crimes and suffer the consequences for sure. Yes. Tip for KCD 2, this is what I did. Find one system that you really love and dive into it. For me, it was alchemy and smithing, and let that guide you. Ooh, that's a good idea. Some people really like the combat. Some people really like the crafting, like, you know, the blacksmithy stuff. Some people really like hunting and doing that. That's awesome too. But that's a good idea. Find the thing that you like and then dive into that and let that kind of guide you for sure. Caleb says, with the 5, thank you for that. To be fair, if you give Sony that 10, or if you give Sony 10K just for the rights to use the name, that's more money than they made in its entirety. That's what I'm saying. That's why if I'm like $20, no, realistically, they probably would want like hundreds of thousands or millions, like just realistically with how much they poured into that IP. Because they also did the whole Amazon like episode for whatever that show is that did the micro episodes. Like they put a lot of money into that IP. I don't think they would just casually sell it, but I think it'd be pretty cool. But that's why, like Corey said, if we just did a grape, it's like, yeah, it's the Concord Grape Award. You know, you could do that. Secret level, that's it. Thank you. Okay. Let's do. Pop this over here. Okay. Oh, yes. I want to pull up the community votes for Game of the Year before I do mine. That's the key. Okay, posts. Here it is. Okay. Because I put it up on the live channel and the main channel because I wanted to see where you guys were at, what you were feeling. And posts. There we go. Okay. So new time thing. Skibbity 2. Skibbity da. Ido Plays, thank you for the prime. Thank you. Okay. So I put out to you guys, what was your game of the year? And we received in total 97,000 votes. It's a lot. And honestly, across our 2 different channels, we actually had it very, very close. I was curious to see if the live channel or main channel would have like a difference in their approach and in like what the people like. Like, is the main channel more RPG focused, but the live channel is more something else? You know, I don't know. But of the two, our first one off the main channel, the pick was, what's your game of the year? I could only pick 4 options. I'm sorry. KCD2 took 30% of the vote. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 took 49% of the vote. Hollow Knight Silksong at 8 and 13% picked other. And of these others, there's, 1.6 thousand, but, Brazilian Drug Dealer 3. I opened a portal to hell in the favela trying to revive MIT AIA. I need to close it. Okay. Dispatch, Death Stranding 2. It was weird, but it's Kojima weird, so it's emotional and epic as hell. Dispatch. Let's see. Death Stranding 2 again. Blue Prince. First Berserker Kazan. Death Stranding 2. A good number of Death Strandings. Tainted Grail. Dispatch. Hades 2. Good number of choices, but far and away, Expedition 33 and KCD2 were the front runners, and Expedition 33 took the award with 49% for a game of the year for the main channel with 56,000 votes cast. Okay, so they took it on the main channel. Live channel, what's the split? How did it break down? Well, over here we had a very similar story. 41,000 votes cast. Of those 41,000, I swapped out Silksong for Dispatch. It actually performed very similarly. But of these, KCD2 took 28%. Claire Obscure took 51%. Dispatch took 8%. And then other also made up 13%. And it was broken down similarly. Kazan, Death Stranding 2, Arc Raiders, Concord, Silky of the Song, a bunch of those. Okay. But once again, Expedition 33 took it for game of the year. Now, I think, like, as I've said 1,000 times, this year was so good. Any one of these games winning it would be like, yeah, fair, honestly. Like, if your favorite game of the year was Arc Raiders because you put 1,000 hours into it, honestly, fair. If you gave it to Dispatch because you love the narrative, cool. Fair. If you gave it to Split Fiction because you thought the co-op gameplay was brilliant, because it was, cool. This is one of those years where there's just so many qualified candidates. It's totally fair. For me, this whole thing comes down to KCD2 and Claire Obscure. For me, those are the 2 games that slip past just being great or amazing, and they start to slip into games that I know I'm going to think about and talk about for years and years to come. Both are phenomenal for slightly different reasons. I would not call them both RPGs in the same sense. It's why I got low-key triggered when KCD 2 didn't win RPG of the Year at the Game Awards, because I think that they're such different games. To compare them and put them in the same category is just like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like they are competing for different awards if they're both RPGs. Like they're competing against different things. So I just wouldn't consider them the same thing at all. But for KCD 2, when I talk about that game, I am talking about a game that is one of the most immersive games that I've personally ever played. And when I say the term immersive, I mean not just that it's easy to get lost in, like just spend hours and hours and hours hiking around, like going hunting, going and completing various quests, playing dice, doing all this stuff. It's not just that, it's that you actually start to like live and breathe in the world. And the best example of this level of immersion that I can think of is when you start to like explore the world, but you don't rely on UI or anything like that. I started to get to know the map so well that I could tell pretty much where I was based on like the time of day and how that interacted with the buildings around me. And I could see like in the distance, oh, there's that building, and I know that that's the back of the building for like this tower, so I need to go this. Okay, I know where I am, and I can like mentally place where I am on the map. And that's why the hardcore mode, if you've not tried the hardcore mode, you should, because the hardcore mode removes a lot of those benefits of like placing you on the map at certain points, and it just allows you to get immersed and to just explore it. And I just freaking love it. I also think the story was phenomenally well done. It wrapped up Henry's story. I thought it wrapped it up in a satisfying way. I was speaking to Neon Knight actually about the story because we were debating whether they should do a third game or not. When we were in Prague for KCD Fan Fest, we were talking about it, and one of the guys in the car, Mike, one of the coolest guys I've ever met in my life, dude. He's an OG, works like he's got connections at Sega going back to like the 80s. Dude's an OG and super, super cool. But he like is involved with the publishing of KCD. And so he knows what their next project is. He knows if there's going to be a KCD 3, but he wouldn't tell us anything, of course. But he's in the car while we're debating whether there should be a KCD 3 and if there is, if it should be Henry, if it should be a direct sequel or whatever. And he's just chuckling and laughing. He's like, you guys have, yeah, no, it's interesting. He kept saying, it's very interesting to hear your perspectives. I was like, I bet it is. He's like, you dumbasses. But I thought they wrapped up his story really well. I really liked what they did. I also think, again, when we're talking about like what games represent and everything, KCD 2, I thought was such a breath of fresh air. For one, it was so polished, they were able to move up the release date, which is basically unheard of. Like, they moved up the release, not a delay. They did the opposite. Okay, it's crazy.
Kane 8222 donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
E33 released on my birthday. I asked you if you were going to review it. You couldn't say yet, but your expression got me excited.
Oh, yeah.
Respect to KCD 2, but for me, playing E33
Prologue on my B-Day was epic. Dude, for real. It's kind of a sad way to start your birthday, but I know what you mean. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. Just a little bit. Hopefully you weren't turning 33. That would also be a bummer. But no, I totally get what you mean. And yeah, I think I remember that because I was reviewing Expedition, but I couldn't say I was reviewing, so I was just like, can't say. Which is stupid because like you sign the NDA and you can't say that you're reviewing it or playing it. But you also don't want to lie. So if the answer is yes, you say no comment. If the answer is no, you'll just say no. So everybody knows the answer. Like, just let people say it. But anyway, yeah, you get what I mean. But going with this, I just think like the story and the execution of everything was so well done in KCD 2. I just ate it up. It is an epic adventure. And frankly, when you play it from the first game all the way through to the end of the second game, it is quite the journey, and they do a really good job of it just flowing seamlessly through. The cinematics are great. The performance was really good. The fact like this is like a bougie humble brag. I'm not trying to humble brag, but I'm just using it as part of this story to paint the picture. Okay, they gave reviewers a full month with the game. That means that they sent us access to the game. I think it was January 4th. When they sent access to the game, I got the email or whatever, and I was on a little island in the Caribbean called Exuma, which is known for having herds of pigs that swim. I'm not joking. Like they live on these islands. These pigs live on the island and they swim around. It's really, really cute. But I was in the Caribbean. This is going to come as no surprise. The Caribbean doesn't have great internet. So it's all like cell service based. So there was just no way I could download the game, but I anticipated that. So I brought in my luggage a Starlink mini thing, and I set it up outside. I had my laptop outside in the grass, and I downloaded KCD2 from a satellite while I was in the Caribbean. And from there, I was able to do the network share to my ROG Ally, the small like mini ROG Ally, and download it there and copy it over from the PC or from my gaming laptop. And dude, the game even worked on the little ROG Ally. It was great. So, and I know what you're thinking, Luke, why are you playing KCD2 while you're in the Bahamas on a tropical getaway vacation? It's because we all got norovirus, which if you don't know norovirus, it basically turns your body inside out. It's horrible. It's the worst thing ever. It's horrible. Like norovirus, especially on a vacation, is the worst thing ever. And the Exuma, like the Bahamas, are like low key, kind of a third world country in a lot of places. And so there's no medicine. There's no there's just nothing. You're just alone. And so we were struggle bussing through norovirus, and I played while I was bedridden because I was so nauseous I couldn't stand up. It was that bad. And so I played KCD2 on my little ROG handheld through that whole thing. And so for me, KCD2 is just like this game that is tied to all of these different fibers of this year for me, and is very near and dear to my heart. I love it absolutely dearly. I think it's one of the most immersive and impressive RPGs I've ever played, and I adore it. I just adore KCD2. That brings us to our second primary candidate. Is going to read it. I don't know if it's going to read it. Alex, thank you for that super chat. Luke, you're right about KCD2 wrapping up the story, but don't forget the game has sold 1 million on the first day, raked in 260 concurrent players, and was nominated for Game of the Year. Embracer won't want to let go of a lucrative IP like this. All I know, and I don't have secret knowledge or anything, okay? So anybody who's like, Luke's really close to KCD2 guys, so, you know, to Warhorse, so he's gonna let it loose or something. No, I asked them, you better believe I asked them. I was like, what are you doing after this? What are you doing after KCD2? All they would say, they would pivot, they would dodge the question, obviously, which they should do. They shouldn't just leak it. But one of the common threads was that they kept saying stuff like, we want to avoid burnout. We want to do something that keeps us creatively challenged, which to me sounds like a new IP.
_404 donated $10 through Super Chat. KCD 1/2 should have been what the evolution of Bethesda games should have been. Mocap performances, good cinematic cut scenes, more natural NPC, world interactions.
Yeah, interactions, improved trade / skill progression. Yeah, I agree. I think the evolution of KCD 1 to 2, you can really see like the original vision, and then KCD2 is the realization of that vision. Like they were able to actually do everything they wanted. Yeah, I would agree. They pulled it off, I think. Yeah. Thank you for the 10. Also, good to see you, Blackthorn. Hope you have a good day, my friend. This all brings us to our second front runner for Game of the Year. I actually have so they sent me the collector's edition for the game before anybody knew it was going to be big. So I have the original first batch, little statue. It's like hand painted and everything. Look at this thing. Look how cute it is. I mean, like, yeah, it's sad and devastating, and she's weeping for no spoilers. But I love Expedition 33. This was one where when it was first revealed, I think we all kind of immediately got this feeling of like, okay, this may be special. And I don't know how to put it into words. Maybe it was just that it was really pretty. Maybe it's that the music was so good. Maybe it's a combination of all of it. But from the moment that this was revealed, a lot of us had a feeling like it was going to be something special. It was just novel. It was a unique story. It was something that people hadn't really seen before, and it seemed compelling. They had a pretty baller voice cast too. And every shot just looked like it could be a wallpaper or a screenshot. Like, it's just stunning. And then we got the game, and it brings back a lot of old school ideas from like old JRPGs, but then it expands on them with some newer ideas. And the best way that it's been described is like a melding of some of these, like the adventure of maybe a God of War mixed with the framing of like a Final Fantasy with combat inspirations from Sekiro with the parries and stuff. And honestly, it's not a bad way of describing it. It's so impressive. So impressive. I'm the Juggernaut Glitch, gifted 10 memberships. That gets 3 booms. Boom, boom, boom. Get a fake out. Didn't even see that coming. Thank you. That's crazy. Very generous. Thank you for that. And everybody who just got a membership, get your booty in the Discord. Join us. It's a member and Twitch sub only Discord. You got to get in there. Thank you. And then Jordy Vision, thank you for the 5. Expedition 33 made me want to get into turn-based in their version, but the ending knocks it down due to being really no stakes, no spoilers in chat for others. Yes, no spoilers. Some people love the ending. Some people don't like the ending. My wife, no, I by the way, I can't say my wife without immediately doing the Borat. So sorry, not sorry. Cancel me. I don't care. It's my opinion. I can't help it. Just what happens. I think that this game just took a lot of people by surprise as well. It was also on Game Pass, which anybody who says that didn't have some help influence, I think is not really appreciating it. I had friends that, like, I know from college who wouldn't typically play a game like this. Like, it's just not their style. But the fact that they could try it through Game Pass, which they already had, and just download it and give it a shot, that really helped with that barrier to entry. They decided to give it a shot because I have nothing to lose. And then they ended up falling in love with it. And I think it, a lot of us were worried that maybe it was going to harm its performance initially or like monetary payoff, but they ended up really, really overperforming. There were stories within the first week or so of the game's launch that it had sold out physical copies across Europe. Like, they just didn't have enough copies. It's crazy. They sold out. I didn't know you could still do that, but they did. So I think the game featured a lot of really novel and unique ideas, which was really refreshing, especially in an age where so many games we were seeing were just rehashes of the same thing. The art direction stunning. For me, the standout, I think more than anything with Expedition 33 is the music. Like, there's just nothing on this level.
And everyone of that age vanishes into nothingness. Every year she paints again. And every year, an expedition departs for the continent with one hopeless mission. Destroy the paintress so she can never paint death again. We'll break the cycle so she can't steal anyone else's future.
This world is full of wonders.
Yet everywhere we go, we walk with death.
Do you mean we're the only ones left?
It's just a vibe. PTSD, Luke. PTSD. Yeah, dude, for real. It's just a vibe, dude. I have not listened to a video game soundtrack, like casually driving in the car, in so long. But I listened to the KCD soundtrack, or KCD, to the Expedition 33 soundtrack regularly. Like, regularly. It's just a vibe. It like sinks into the pores of my brain. I love it. I love it. If there were like any sort of award for best music of the year, it goes to Expedition 33 without a doubt. Phenomenal compositions across the industry with many different games, but I think that this was not just great, like this was once in a decade levels of soundtrack composition. So good. And I mean, more than anything, I think part of the reason it exploded so much was also because of the story of the game, not like the narrative, but also this idea that a tiny team was coming out with a game that was priced lower than the competition. They were the underdogs and they started swinging for the fences and came out with this thing that just blew everybody away and was just bafflingly impressive. The game is far from perfect. I still insist that things like loadouts would be great. I think a lot of the leveling could be balanced out. There were regular times where you would go while just exploring the world and then you find one encounter that was, 20 levels higher than all your characters, and then the next one is 20 levels under. Like, I think they could have balanced out a lot of that stuff. It's just like a little disjointed at times. So I think that there's definitely places they could improve for a sequel, but man, this game was utterly tremendous, and there's a reason why it gets so much praise. I do think what's interesting is that what's happened after it won pretty much everything at the Game Awards is that the pendulum kind of swung. So they went from being the underdogs to all of a sudden being the big dog in the span of like an evening. And that all of a sudden made it cool to go from being the fan of the underdog to being the hater of the big dog. And so overnight you saw like people on X and like Reddit and everywhere immediately flip, and all of a sudden it was like cool to hate on it, which I find like a little cringe. I just want to talk about the games, like whatever. But both phenomenal. KCD2 phenomenal. Expedition 33 fantastic. That brings me to the final decision. The final decision. Okay. I've thought about this way more than I ever thought I would, because I think they're both phenomenal games. KCD2 for Game of the Year, Expedition 33 for Game of the Year. They're both fantastic. And if you gauge them in different ways, you could probably land at different conclusions. For me, I think it's like, what game is the Game of the Year award can kind of change year by year. It's like, are you picking just the best overall game, your favorite game? Are you picking the game that you think will have the biggest impact on the industry? Are you picking the game that you think is going to be talked about in a decade or whatever? But I think ultimately, for me, these are both games made by teams that are sort of like, they started small. They started with ideas of things that shouldn't work. The idea that a team of fundamentally 33 people, I know they hired contractors, but a team of 33 people and a dog, that they came together and they decided to try and make an ambitious, like, narrative RPG like this, and that they actually were going to pull it off. Like, that shouldn't work, but it did. The idea that they would also start a new studio, Warhorse Studios, and they would make an immersive sim medieval RPG where like you have to worry about sleeping and the smell of your clothes, and like the idea that you would make that into a game also shouldn't work on paper, but they did it with KCD2, with KCD1, and leading into KCD2 where they made it better and refined everything. I love both of these games so much. But I think at the end of the day, for me, if I'm just picking the game that I think has had the biggest impact on me, the game that I am going to return back to regularly, the game that I think changed my standards and expectations for future games of its genre and RPGs, I think for me, at the end of the day, my pick for Game of the Year is KCD2. Expedition 33, phenomenal game. For me, I think KCD2 just showed what happens when you just get pretty much everything right. Like I've said in videos, I've tried to think of things that I would change or tweak or improve in KCD 2, and other than just more, I'm not sure what it would be. Like, it's just, for me, it checks off so many boxes in so many ways. I just freaking adore it. I just adore it. And when your primary critique is that you want more, that's a good critique to have, you know? With Expedition, I can think of plenty of things I'd like them to change or tweak or shift in a sequel. With KCD 2, I'm honestly, like, I don't know what I would do differently in KCD 3. Like, I that's why they get paid the big bucks, and I'm just here playing them, you know? KCD 2 is a game that has changed my expectations and standards and understanding of what's possible. And I think in terms of what it represents also, it's really impressive to see them make something so ambitious, and they come out with phenomenal performance and optimization. Lots of, I think, refreshing approaches to level design, to writing, to quest, everything. It's just freaking fantastic. I just absolutely adore it. Absolutely adore it. So shout out Toby, shout out Warhorse, shout out KCD2, and of course the amazing guys over at Expedition 33's studio, Sandfall Interactive. It's all phenomenal. But I mean, at the end of the day, for me, there can only be one game of the year. And for me, even though my community voted for Expedition, for me, my pick this year is KCD2. Sorry, not sorry. Cancel me. I don't care. Just my opinion. Thank you. 6-8 NATO. Thank you for the 5. What kind of desk is that? I've struggled to find a good spacious desk. It is literally, people are putting in chat, I realize it looks like a joke. No, it's literally a kitchen island. This is literally a kitchen island countertop. I'm not joking. If you look at IKEA PC stations on Reddit, this is basically what it is. I have the biggest size of countertop. Theirs is like, I think, a kitchen countertop. This is a kitchen island. It's like an island countertop because I like the depth, because I have 2 keyboards and I like having lots of space. So I got a kitchen island and then I put it on top of these drawers. That's my desk. It ended up being way cheaper than ordering like an actual desk. So this is what I recommend. They'll ship it to your front door. They'll drop it off. Then you just drag it in, stack them on top. You're done. It's great. It's great. You'll save money and you get a bigger desk. I've got more compliments on this than any desk I've ever had. Like, people see this like, what the hell is that? How do I get one of those? Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Yeah. What do I think they'll do for the next IP? A sequel or a new IP? I personally think that they're going to do... I see them as a very creative bunch. I think they'll do something new, something different. That's just the vibe I get. The straightforward, easy money thing would be a new IP or to do a sequel, not do a new IP, but I don't know. Anyway, that's the selection. That's the selection. Cancel me. I don't care. Cancel me. I don't care. Just my opinion. Let's see. Do I think they'll stay realistic or move to fantasy? I think they'll go. Again, I just get the vibe that they're very different. I wouldn't be surprised if they switch it up and go like historical nonfiction or something. Like they do something, or historical fiction. If they just totally shift and do something way more grounded. Like, I just get the vibe that they're very, very creative and they don't want to do the same thing over and over again. And I think that's a good idea. If they keep like fresh ideas and they shake it up, I'm okay with that. Let's see. Luke, can you show us the statue you'll be sending Warhorse? I don't think I can show it on YouTube. It's pretty explicit. Sorry. Bro, I'm professional. What do I think Warhorse is going to do? Again, all that they would say, like Sotobi would just say things like, we want to avoid burnout. We want to get fresh ideas. Like, they said stuff like that whenever you'd ask them about what they're doing next. And that to me suggests whatever they're doing next is different, because they're not going to burn out doing something new. They'd burn out if they did the same thing. So it might still be like medieval. It might be just set somewhere else. I do think what Neon Knight brought up, of course, was let me see if I can find it. No, not that. What he brought up was specifically the battle King Venceslas. The first defenestration, the Hussite Wars. This is it. The games are all building up sort of to the Hussite Wars, and they don't, of course, get there in KCD, but this would be like the obvious next place to do it. I think that it probably is not Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. What they might be doing next is like Kingdom Come Defiance, Kingdom Come War, like I think they might keep the Kingdom Come framing or naming scheme, and it'll be the same basic franchise or family of games, still medieval, but I think it'll be a new protagonist, and then they'll explore the Hussite Wars. The thing is, like, Gutenberg, for example, is really cool. Prague is something else, dude. Prague is another level. Like, Prague is not, it's its own game, basically. And so I think if they were to do Prague, it would have to be just something totally focused on that. But I'm not sure. But we'll see. I think we'll probably find out relatively soon. The other thing that happened is, and I've told this story before, so I could like temper myself, but I mentioned how cool, like the really cool guy Mike that we met, that is involved in like all the publishing and stuff. He didn't leak anything, didn't say anything, of course. He was very tight-lipped about everything, just listening to us, chuckling whenever we'd make some prediction. But when I, like, at one point, Neon and I were talking, and we were like, yeah, they're probably going to go away for like 5 years, right? 5-6 years. Like, we're probably not hearing from them for a while. And Mike was just like, 5 years is a very long time to not do anything. I was like, okay, what does that mean? Now, there's rumors going around that there's like going to be some port of the first game to modern consoles. That I think was on Insider Gaming or VGC or something. I saw. VGC is not it. VGC. Oh, it's fully typed out. Video Games Chronicle. There was an article on it somewhere. I don't see it. Maybe if I just Google it, KCD 2. I don't know where it is. I can't find it. Anyway, there's rumors going around that they're going to do like a port to modern consoles or something. Maybe that's what he was referring to. I'm hoping that it's something like big. Like, are they actually going to do something? Like, do they have another game in the works that they've been working on secretly that they're going to drop within like 2 years? I don't know. I don't actually know how big the studio is. How big is Warhorse? 250 employees. 250. So they did KCD in 2018. KCD 2 was 7 years later. And when I threw out the 5-year number, he was like, that's a while. We're headed into 2026. So maybe like, the start of next gen or something. There could be something. I'm not sure. But yeah. Pretty baller, dude. Pretty baller. I don't know what's gonna happen. We'll see. Okay. Anywho. Thank you, Cody, for the super chat. Thank you. Appreciate you. Nathan, thank you for that. Hey, Luke, IMO for all the jank. I think KCD1 tonally beat KCD2. In my opinion, story was more focused and engaging, which felt lost with KCD2's scope. Thoughts? I do think when you broaden the scope, you can end up losing focus on important narrative beats. That certainly can happen. Like, for example, if there's some big moment narratively, but or it's about to happen narratively, or like a big narrative moment happens, and then you go off and explore for 5 hours, and then you come back and rejoin the story, but now you're like, it's not the same stakes because time has passed, so you kind of forgot about the emotional stakes of it, so it can kind of throw off the pacing, which certainly can happen. For me, I think maybe I view it just differently because I view KCD1 and KCD2 sort of as one big game story-wise. So for me, I just see it as like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4. Like for me, it just kind of flows together, and I don't think of them as broken up that much. But I'd have to think about that and like look back through the plot and pacing and stuff. Because you might be right. I'm not sure. I'd have to think about it. Thank you, Kirby.
A daily ritual for me. I know this.
Oh, I had it muted. I'm sorry. Kirby, thank you for the 20. Just wanted to wish you and your fam happy new year. You've become you've become a daily ritual for me. I know this may sound weird, but I've been listening to your videos as I fall asleep. Comfort food. Keep up the great work, dude. You're totally fine. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for watching and listening too. It's actually something I've heard people say for a long time, because like the bread and butter of the main channel used to be the big critiques that are like hours long. And so I've had people saying that they listen to the videos to fall asleep. I've had people say that for years. So you're totally fine. That's not that weird for me. I'm just glad that you're watching and listening, you know? And if you find the soothing, sultry sound of my voice calming enough to fall asleep to, I'll take that as a compliment. It will. That one's for free. Gotta keep them guessing. You know, that's how you keep them engaged. That's how you do it. Oh, I'm sorry, the Phantom. Did I miss? Hold up. You say I missed a super chat. Let me roll up. I don't want to miss anything. If it was while I was starting to ramble about the Game of the Year awards, I'd probably just plowed through it. Thank you for letting me know. Let's see. Okay, I read that one. Expedition 33 on my birthday. I read that one from Kane. Cameron, thank you for the 5. Just beat Donkey Kong Bonanza. It and Expedition 33 are easily my Game of the Year. Some of the most fun I've had in a while. Glad to hear it, my friend. I've heard some people eat up Donkey Kong Bonanza. I know it kind of like got overshadowed with some of the other like very big viral games, but yeah, I've heard lots of people say they really like Donkey Kong Bonanza. If you like collectathon type stuff, then that's definitely it, because it's the same team that did Super Mario Odyssey. For me personally, I'm not big into collectathon type games. Just doesn't scratch that itch for me. I guess I don't have that itch for it to scratch, but yeah, I'm eating it up. I like them in small doses. I eat those up. I don't eat up the big, massive collectathons. Like the recent Lego games that are just purely collectathons, I don't really mess with those. They're not really for me. But I do love me collectathons in smaller packages, like the OG Lego Batman or Lego Star Wars OG. That's baller. The Phantom, thank you also for the 5. Just watched your upcoming games for 2026 video and I didn't see Ontos. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on the game. Personally, I'm very excited. We did talk about Ontos. Like Jacob, did you cut that out, or maybe I did it at a random point? We did definitely talk about Ontos, because I remember we looked at the trailer, and when the lady pulls the neck skin off, she a bunch of people in chat went, gross, ew. Maybe it got trimmed out accidentally. I'm not sure. But Ontos, yeah, that one looks really, really cool to me. It gives me strong early like BioShock vibes in the best way possible, but like darker, grittier BioShock. Well, BioShock's already pretty dark and gritty. It gives me BioShock vibes. It gives me BioShock vibes. I love it. I love it. Eat it up. Give me more. Scoop, scoop into my pie hole, you know? I'm excited for that one. That one looks really cool. That one and Judas give the same vibe. Oh yeah, Ontos is in the big video from today. Game Awards breakdown vid. Both vids have timestamps. Okay, so maybe you just accidentally passed it, phantomed or something. But yeah, I could have sworn we covered it. Paul Kill, thank you for the 20 Great British Pounds. Those are great British pounds. Thank you. Fantastic. Those are some of the best pounds I've seen. Thank you, Luke, for all the videos in 2025. I'm looking forward to 26, especially any new releases or possible leaks. This is my favorite channel for game streams. Happy New Year. Thank you, my friend. Glad to have you here. Good to see you, my friend. And yeah, we should have a very exciting lineup. I mean, there's a ton. This year on paper, actually, there were only like a few games that historically like my audience eats up. Like on paper, there's a few big ones, like KCD2 and Expedition, and like people are always interested in Assassin's Creed. But there are only like a few. Next year, there's a bunch. So I fully expect that next year is going to be pretty crazy and wild. And I gotta shout out like the team, Trevor doing short form stuff in the Clips channel, Jacob killing it with the live channel. It's kind of become his baby. He also is editing all the main channel stuff, doing a great job there. It's been a ridiculously successful year in terms of like video performance and growth and all sorts of stuff. Like by pretty much every metric, it's been a phenomenal year for us, and we owe it all to you guys watching and enjoying. So truly, thank you guys for making that possible. It's really, really cool. And we're humbled by it. And we're trying to make sure that we don't take any of it for granted and listen to feedback and make improvements where we can. So truly, thank you. Truly, thank you. Appreciate you guys. I forgot to put in my message earlier. It said, Cody, I meant to ask if you think Project Platinum on the Bethesda FTC leaks is New Vegas remastered. Is that... I feel like there was something there. Let's see. It was the Microsoft... I feel like, did they mention what that was in reference to, what Project Platinum was, or was it something else? Yeah, like it could mean the Platinum chip. Is I feel like there were a number of those code names that were referenced. Let's see. It looks like some people thought it could be Wolfenstein. But there's no public info. I mean, I think a Project Platinum could easily refer to that. FTC leak, Microsoft Project Platinum. Because I think it'll also tell us based on the timelines. It was this thing. Elder Scrolls 6, Project Kestrel, licensed IP game, Fallout 3, Elder Scrolls Online, Ghostwire Tokyo. Project Platinum was slated for fiscal year 2023, which would have put it releasing before all of this stuff. Which would put it like right about now, because all of this stuff was delayed about 2 years. It's not impossible. Like Project Platinum could be a New Vegas something or other. My stance with the New Vegas stuff is just frankly like, I think if something were happening, it would be leaking. I think it's such a big thing that I think the secret would get out. And maybe that's cynical of me, but I personally believe that if something that big were in the works, it would leak. And it hasn't. Like it's not even been leaked or suggested who's working on it. Like people say, oh, maybe Obsidian, but like Obsidian has been pretty clear that their plate is pretty full with all their stuff that they're doing. They did Avowed, they did Outer Worlds, they have Grounded. They apparently have a couple of pre-production projects, but like they've not been working on a big AAA something. Like they just haven't been. They don't have enough resources or people. So I don't think it would be them. So who is it? Like, do they give it to somebody else? Do they give it to Virtuos to just handle internally? Nobody else touches it. Maybe. Honestly, they'd probably be pretty decent at it. It's kind of their bread and butter. It's what they do. But I think that's the difficulty, is just that if it were happening, I think it would leak, and it hasn't. At least not verifiably. Now, one interesting thing, and I got to give people, they gave it to Copilot. Oh God. Sorry. That's funny. That's funny. One interesting thing though, potentially is that a number of journalists have actually been holding back stories. You remember Jason Schreier, when he was asked about what the statue was before the Game Awards, he said he knew what it was, but he was not reporting on it. It was pretty cool. And it ended up being pretty cool, the new Larian game. But that would suggest that like years ago, if Jason heard any rumbling about anything, he would report it. There were those stories of how Jason Schreier was blacklisted from Bethesda and Xbox, or Bethesda and ZeniMax rather, because he leaked Fallout 4's casting script, which leaked to the game. And so they basically blacklisted him. Nowadays, it seems like there's stuff that he won't report on for sake of preserving reputation or preserving connections or just hype or whatever. Like, oh, this is going to be a cool reveal, I won't leak it. It seems like people are pulling punches, basically. And if that's the case, and maybe somebody like him knows that there is a New Vegas remake or remaster in the works, but he's just not reporting on it to save the surprise, then all bets are off. Then anything's possible. But my assumption is that if a journalist that gets a scoop gets it, they're going to run with it. You know? Yeah, Oblivion literally leaked on the site's code. Yeah, and multiple other places too. I mean, Oblivion was also a very poorly kept secret. Everybody knew about it. We even knew that it was going to be shadow dropped on the day that they did the reveal. So it wasn't like much of a shadow drop. We all kind of saw that coming. But now the worst kept secret in gaming is the Black Flag remake, which is coming. But even that, we don't know when exactly that's coming. We don't know if they plan to shadow drop it. Like, we don't know much of anything. So at least that's been kind of locked down. It depends on how they get that leak. Sure. I think with all this, like Project Platinum, the Platinum chip, that is it. The counter, and like we could just do this to just play devil's advocate. The easiest thing is to say, okay, it's Project, like codename Project Platinum. Why are they? This was an official document that was confidential only for internal eyes. If they knew it was for a named game, a remake of something, or a remaster of something, why wouldn't they say it? If they knew that this was Fallout New Vegas Remastered, why wouldn't they just write it? They had no problem writing Fallout 3 Remaster. Why wouldn't they just write Fallout New Vegas Remaster if that's what it is? You know? This to me suggests that it was something that was unnamed at that point, whether it's a new game, an upcoming game, or something that just didn't have a title yet. So it's just a project, a code name. But because again, bear in mind that when this document was put together, this was put together in July of 2020. So this was 3 years out. So they might not have had a name for this. They knew what Fallout 3 Remaster would be. Like, oh, maybe we'll settle on a slightly different name. But that to me is probably the main reason I would say this probably isn't a New Vegas related project. Because if it were, they would know what it's called. Like, they would just call it that. They don't have to worry about people seeing this because this was never supposed to leak, you know? Where's Dishonored 3? Well, this, again, bear in mind, all of this stuff has shifted forward. Elder Scrolls 6 did not come out in 2024. Spoilers! It did not. So all of this is pushed forward. What's interesting, though, people are asking if next year Fallout 3 Remaster comes. If all of this shifted forward roughly the same amount of time, that would put Fallout 3 Remaster in like the 2026 window, right? If it was pushed forward 2 years. But like they already said, Todd said Elder Scrolls 6 is not coming in 2026, which would shift it to 2027, which means a lot of this stuff could be pushed forward 2, 3, 4 years. Who knows? Because Elder Scrolls might also be even later than 27. I think Elder Scrolls 6 doesn't come till 28 at the soonest. But anyway, interesting tidbit. But I'm not sure I would get too excited at the idea of it being Fallout New Vegas related, because I just think if it were New Vegas related, I think it would have leaked by now. They can't frick up 6 or they'll get in hot waters. I'm sorry, the idea they can't frick it up. That's just funny to me. Sorry. Just funny. Okay. So everybody, here's the deal. I have had a wonderful year. You guys are amazing. Me and the team are very thankful for you guys watching and supporting and being just like a very energetic, passionate community. I think we have a lot of fun. I cannot wait for next year. I think really getting into January, and especially as we start to roll into February and March with some big games, I think it's going to be a very good time. This coming fall is going to be crazy. The summer is going to be crazy. We have a lot of ideas for things that we want to do, from the New Game Plus showcase all the way through to some of the stuff where we want to go to like Gamescom in Germany and vlog our trips and stuff. It's going to be awesome. So truly, thank you guys for making my dreams a reality, for helping. I don't know if it's Jacob's dream to work with me. Maybe it's a nightmare, but at least making it so Jacob can do this for a living as well. Same with Trevor and everybody else that's kind of related to my operation, like my manager, Jake. You guys make all of it possible. So truly thank you. Never, ever think we take it for granted. Like, it's so incredibly humbling to think that we get to do this. It's just absolutely insane, but I owe it all to you guys. And never, ever think I take that for granted, truly. Next year is going to be crazy. We have a lot of stuff planned. There's a lot of stuff that we are working on. That's exciting. And that I hope to share soon. There's even some stuff just out of frame that maybe you'll get to see soon enough. I had to double check that it was out of frame. But there's even some exciting stuff over there that we'll share soon enough, okay? But truly thank you. You guys have a fantastic rest of 2025. We will be back next year. I think on Friday. So the 2nd, I believe, we'll be back rocking and rolling. It's a gun. Yeah, it's just a gun. No, we'll be back on Friday doing another stream, first stream of the year, and rock and roll. We'll see if we have stuff to talk about, or if we'll just be hanging out and chilling. But either way, thank you so much for being here. Thank you everybody who sent in super chats today, for chilling, for vibing. We'll see you in the new year. Stay safe, because again, it's dangerous driving around doing stuff on New Year's Eve. Be safe out there, my friends. I'll see you guys in the new year. Much love. See you soon. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.